Welcome to Vision Profiles Podcast. Join us, three dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at Midwest University, podcaster, and Apple product fan.
I'm Eric Bolden. I work at IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of snow, but other times of the year, plants and birds and panoramic sequences.
And I'm Daniel Burkholder, a software engineer and technologist currently engrossed in generative AI and AR and VR technologies.
Eric, you were talking about taking pictures of snow. I had a group of international teachers here for a while, and one from India, actually. I posted a picture of my backyard, and they said, "Oh, that's so beautiful. Send us the color picture." And I said, "That is the color picture. You kind of have to look at the deck chair to see that that's the only color in the photo at that time." So, anyways, we've got like one big piece of news to talk about, and then some other things, and maybe some apps to talk about. But I got it. The Dbrand always on Aperture case. And for starters, I had gotten one thing from Dbrand in the past, and I think it was just like a cover for a Pixel phone that I had, and it's so it's cool. It comes in kind of a little black sleeve. This thing came in a big bag, and it had small print all over it, and it was like stream of consciousness, and I'm trying to read it to find out if makes any sense whatsoever, and I'm having a great time with it trying to figure it out. And then finally I just gave up. But the whole bag was like this really tiny print, black with really tiny print. I open it up, very cool designed box that it comes in, pull the top off of it, and there is a little, I don't know, 2-inch by 2-inch card with a QR code on it. It's square, and along the edges of the QR code, it says, "We are watching you," on each one of the edges. There was just it was like the packing and it was just fun for me. But this is the cover for those of you who are watching on video. The cover, as people have called it, looks like a pair of Crocs on top of your Vision Pro. Swiss cheese black, and all the holes open up where all of the sensors are. But I really like it. I don't have to pull that cover on and off. It probably will give me as much protection as the cover. And there doesn't seem to be anything that interferes with the sensors or with the cameras. I think getting it in black, I don't know. Eric, are you going to get one, or did you say something about getting an orange?
Well, if I get it, I'm going to go for orange.
Yeah, for me, it'll be interesting to see whether the orange color interferes more than the black, or could interfere more than the black.
Yeah.
I noticed some shifting, when I looked over to one area, but I think that could have been just Vision Pro, not necessarily anything that was affected by the sensors. But I like it. It's on there real tight. So part of liking it is I don't want to have to try and take it off. But it's very nice. It's very cool. And then, I don't know if you sprung for one of these, but again, sort of the Swiss cheese case. I already have a Belkin case, but I think it was David Ginsburg who was like, "No, you got to get both. This is so cool." It's got a clip on it like the Belkin. But it's nice. So mine came and I've been enjoying it.
Have you had to clean the front screen at all?
No, I haven't taken it off. I'm not like I said. I'm sure I can take it off, but it really snaps on there
Huh.
and holds on tight.
Put
So
some
I and
cheese on it and then let a dog lick it off, and then find out
Oh,
how easy it is to clean the residue.
yeah, I thought it's going to be interesting to see when I do finally take it off. I had a hard time figuring out how to snap it on. Like, do
Huh.
I start with snapping it at the top and then under, or do I
Oh,
start with snapping it at the bottom and then over the top? I think I wound up doing it at the bottom and then over the top. So the nose bridge first with
that
it.
makes sense.
So, yeah.
I was thinking left to right, maybe.
what is your what does your eyesight look like through it? Look like you're
I don't
being
know.
gripped.
I
Go look in the mirror, take a photo next time, so it actually
Okay,
Yeah.
looks.
I will, and I'll send it along to you.
Uh,
It might be even creepier because my eyes will be back there peeking through holes.
mhm.
Well, if it is,
Have to
I'm
see.
definitely going to get one.
Yeah, I'm
If
thinking
their
like face
eyeballs peeking
hugger,
out.
Yeah,
vibes. Like it seems like something's on your
Yeah.
face.
Oh,
coming up at the end of March, I'm taking a flight down to Orlando for a conference, and I managed to get a nonstop. The flights are horrendous during that time because I think everybody's spring breaking or running around. You'd know more about this, Daniel, or maybe they're just horrendous. Period. Um, but the costs were crazy. But I did bump myself up to first class on a
Ooh.
nonstop, and it'll be interesting to wear the device again on a plane because it's been a while since I've been on a plane. So, I don't know if there are any new technology in your world. I'm waiting for my 16E to show up on Friday. So I'll play with that, see how that works out. Um, yeah, that's about it. Big news: we finally got a beta. Then this was a big beta, um, and of course, I immediately went to the site to look at release notes, and the release notes doesn't tell you anything about what's there. It tells you what's wrong. Known issues with Apple Intelligence, Apple TV app with some resolved issues, other known issues. I really tried to look for this for some kind of declaration of what's wrong or what's new with it, and you're not going to find it there. You're going to find it. We have a lot of articles that are um, basically the same article over and over again. On the release of 2.4, particularly with the developer version that you get. I don't think it's not open for public beta yet, but the developer version, you're supposed to have all of this Apple Intelligence. And I have all the articles up. There are a couple that I would suggest are very good articles. I mean, you have, you have the Apple newsroom, so that's all going to be nice and new. And for me, there are some things that I'm just not clear about. And I know Eric's been playing deep with this. Um, and then there are some, like there's a good article from Six Colors. And, so that's kind of for me a trusted place to go and get information. And then there are some other articles that are like hands on with Apple Intelligence. This is a Apple Insider article. When you hear hands on, you want to know about the hands on aspect of it and how it works, and it doesn't really go there. So, I think we checked before show, everybody has loaded 2.4. Um, Eric texted me, I don't know, it was a couple days ago, and you said, so what do you think? Should I load the 2.4 or not? Because you don't like to run betas.
yeah.
Um, And
I was
apparently,
very reluctant.
I haven't had any functional problems with it. I just haven't been able to see all the stuff that they say is possible. So I'll leave it open at that. It looks a little snappier, looks a little crisper. That's what we like to say. But your experience with any of these proposed objects or proposed things, have you been able to use writing tools? The only thing that comes up clear for me, really, and let's start with that, Playground. Um, that comes up as an app right in my on my screen, and it's the same playground as the other playgrounds you're connected to, and some of the Genmojis or some of the playground images that I've created from on other devices have now shown up and show up in my gallery on my Vision Pro. Anybody else try that?
So, well, first, I think maybe to set the stage and just to summarize all the things that are supposed to be in there, which is like, it's pretty much all the Apple Intelligence features that have been on the phones, the writing tools, Genmoji, the image playground, and spatial,
Spatial.
and spatial gallery in 2.4, which is to show off spatial content. And then there is some new guest mode stuff, which we'll get into as well. I know. I haven't been able to do very much with it. Um, I all I could do actually lately has just been some Genmojis. I made a couple funny emojis. I made a horse riding a peach, um, and that was kind of it. I haven't really had any other thing pop up to use. But frankly, I mean, Apple Intelligence features are kind of a dud, so I'm not looking for that much, to be honest. But I don't have playgrounds. I don't see it anywhere. I don't have the spatial gallery either in 2.4. And I've seen other people have similar experiences where stuff isn't there. And I'm having the same thing when we get into talking about guest mode too. So I just haven't had an opportunity because it's kind of not there.
Yeah, I keep going into mine and poking around to see if I'm missing something. Playgrounds, is that, I don't know, it's a little black circle with a cat icon. If you've seen it on other devices, it's the same icon. And it showed up, everything shows up in a linear timeline. So you have to flip through 100 pages before you get to the app that was the one that
Mm.
you're looking for, the one that you just loaded. Um, yeah, I mean it performs just like any other like playgrounds generally performs, and it gives you the different kinds of selections that you can do. Frankly, all of the images that come out of it to me look like a bad Freudian dream. And so I haven't found uses for that or the Genmoji piece either. That's generational, I'm sure. Sort of my age and where I'm at, it's just not my thing. Um, so yeah, I went to look for Spatial Gallery, and I've looked all over for it, and I expected it to show up either directly on my screen, like Playgrounds did, or expected it to show up as some function of photos and couldn't find it. And then went into the systems operation to look for anything that might have indicated this is where you get spatial gallery. And then I went as far as to, and folks don't do this at home. I went as far as to go into the App Store and search for Spatial Gallery, and sure enough, an application came up. Did you, Eric? You're laughing. Did you try that?
Yes, it's not what you're looking for,
It's
though.
not what you're looking for. No, it's some Japanese anime, not even anime. I don't know what you call it. It's like little pink cats or objects that float around the room. I don't know how they can get away with that. I do know that one of the comments was they switched the location to Japan or something. I loaded
Ah,
it and quickly realized this is not the Druid I'm looking for, and deleted it. So don't try to search for it through the App Store to find it.
what about email?
Email, yes, and the writing tools, yes, but to the extent that that is available to me, yeah.
Did you try anything with the voices?
No, no, again, I haven't gotten that deep into it yet, but I know what I'll be doing probably tomorrow night. Um, I'll be looking again and trying some more things out to make it happen. I'm waiting for one of the 10 articles that we have and that will be in the feed for folks to look at if they want to. I'm waiting for that article that really says hands on. This is how you get this. This is where it's at. This is what you can do with it on Vision Pro. I
So,
suspect, and then you really, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, so what about guest mode? We can talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll finish this point
Oh,
about,
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah,
when even the articles kind of say, Apple Intelligence is coming to Vision Pro in April, but you can get it as a developer mode now. And I don't know if the rest of these things will roll out in April or between now and April. And we've just kind of been rope-a-doped into downloading, and the articles make it sound like all that stuff is going to be there in a lot of ways, and then they say it's coming in April. So I'm
or
really looking for some media or article to dissect it and say this is where this is. This is not here right now. But or this is here. This is how you get it. Um,
it, it's coming in April, or they'll update the description.
all right, Eric, it's your thing. Let's talk about guest mode because you managed to get and spent a lot of
Yeah,
time in it. You've been sending me text messages with pictures in it. I've been looking at the pictures, trying to figure
yeah.
out what the secret sauce is that you
So,
found. So
so I was not looking for intelligence, and I didn't find that anyway. So, but with guest mode, you have to actually turn it on. So if you go into preferences, you look under optic ID and passcode and scroll down, there's a section called enable guest user with nearby device, and then you select your iPhone. Your iPhone has to be updated to the beta. Your Vision Pro has to be running the beta, and it has to have the same Apple ID on both devices for all of that to work. And then I did some testing with it. I was sort of running a little low on time. However, the guest mode, that's the only thing I was really looking. That's the only thing that convinced me to install a beta. And what I was looking for is being able to take my optical inserts out, hand the device to somebody, have them put it on, and then it um, sends to the iPhone asking if you want to enable guest mode. You say yes. You say yep. You can use all the apps, or you provide a list of apps that can be used, and then you get a view of what the person is looking at, and then go wandering around looking at stuff. And then I said, well, okay, go into the TV app and go watch a movie, because that's where everything falls apart with the old guest mode, where you turn on share to an iPad or something. And yep, go to watch the movie. They either can't see it or can't hear it because it's the iPhone is showing the screen, you click the close box so that goes away, and then up at the top of the phone in the island, you get a little icon of the Vision Pro and a guest user guest mode icon in the dynamic island. When they're done watching the movie, you click on that, and then it starts sharing the screen again. So you don't have to explain to the user, oh, this is how, do this and this and this and this to share your screen again so I can tell you where you are, or fumbling around saying, well, look for something that looks like much smoother, whole lot smoother, so much easier to deal with. Being able to turn off the screen sharing and turn it back on without having the user who's never used it before be having to figure it out. So much smoother experience.
So I'm going to ask you to walk through the setup just one more time. And let me get clear on this. You go into the system settings on the Vision Pro,
Yep.
then you look for ID and password, or what is it?
No, it's not the eyes and hands. It's past sound, past focus, past screen time to optic ID and passcode.
Optic ID is what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay. So you
Yeah.
click on that and then scroll down, and there's an option to permit guest mode or.
Yeah. Enable guest user with nearby device. And then there you can select the device. So if you have more than one qualified device, you can specify, which one it is. In my case, I was picking my phone. I'm assuming you
Okay.
could pick an iPad too, probably.
Yeah.
There also was a nearby iPhone enables optic ID, and you can also pick your phone. I'm assuming so that if it comes up wanting a passcode, you can override that.
So once you pick that phone, it stays as part of the system. So you don't have to go
Yes,
back every time and set this
right.
up.
So in this case, I did not go and select guest user mode and then hand the device over. I took my inserts out and handed the device over. And then
I,
after the new person put it on, nothing lines up. It's not the same person, whatever. There was a pop-up on my phone that said, "Hey, do you want to enable guest user mode?"
hmm.
That's
So,
nice. That's actually really
yeah.
nice because it was always awkward to be like, "Oh, hold on a second, put it in it. Now, hold on, you got like a 5-minute window to put this on and activate it."
Yeah. And if
And then, "Oh
something
no, you
goes
screwed
wrong,
up."
yeah.
You know. Oh, that's actually really
So,
cool because I've been excited to try it too, and especially since my partner he just got done getting both his eyes with having
Yeah,
cataract surgery
that's right.
done. So now he can actually have an opportunity to try this out.
yeah.
Um, and so I've been excited to try it, but so thank you for your telling us how it works because I haven't been able to because I tried to put 18.4 on my phone and it wasn't working at all. And then I made the grave mistake of rebooting my phone, and now the beta doesn't show up at all anymore. So kind of
Oh,
kind of
So
disappointed there. It seems to be a common pattern with these betas lately too, it seems.
so all devices have to be up to the betas, up to the minute in terms of the betas for this collection to work.
yes.
Um, so you essentially triggered guest mode by taking your inserts out. Is that what you when you said I took
Yeah,
the
and now
inserts out?
yeah, and I did that because nobody else has my bad eyes. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing if I handed it over, it wasn't going to authenticate with somebody else's eyeballs. It might have asked there too. But taking out the inserts definitely was a clue that it
Mhm.
was not my eyeballs, and I think that's all it was looking for. The ID did not match.
I
So
am
I haven't had enough time to try it to know, are there other cases and I also want to know if I could do multiple guests, hand it to one person, have them try it. When they get done, can they take it off and hand it to some other person and have that work? Or, do
Mm.
I have to put it on and take it off in between? I'm not sure. I think you can do a sequence, but I had
and
not
I'm
yet tried that.
I'm also wondering if you're still stuck with only one guest, or if you can have 2 or 3 guests on the account.
You could save one setting.
And that setting, from what I read, is for 30 days, or at least in this version
Oh,
of it.
huh.
The
I
setting.
have never lasted that long to find out before
Okay.
somebody else reset it.
I'm trying to see if there are other things that we missed.
So when you're setting it up and you're saying like what apps can they use, is it kind
Mhm.
of like the guided access mode on the iOS devices? Like can they see all the other apps and they're just like blocked out? Do they just not show up on
Well,
the home
you know
screen?
how when you manually put it in shared mode, it says, "Do you want to select what apps the person can use?"
It's
Well,
been a minute, so
oh, well, it's basically the same screens, and
okay.
I don't know what it looks like if you only pick a few, because I always just say all of them because I don't want to have to deal
Yeah.
with trying to select.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always pick all of them.
So I'll try to remember to try it the other way and see what happens.
Some other things. So this is everything in Apple Intelligence on Apple Vision Pro, or everything we should expect, as they say, with the 2.4 release. Writing tools, image playground, chat GPT integrations, Genmoji, Smart Reply, which are those, if you've seen with messages on 18.4, it's those little pop ups at the bottom that will say, yeah, that's, you can just hit those instead of typing a full response in. Yep, that's good. Or, it takes the context of the message and then it gives you a couple of options for short replies. Priority messages, memory movie, which I think is probably the assembling of photos as we do, but it can now be done. Well, it is done with Apple Intelligence or through Apple Intelligence, and natural language search. So you can use natural language to do search. I'll tell you, one of the things that everybody was clear about was 2.4 did not bring us Siri or improvements to Siri on on the device. Siri is not any smarter because of it. And I think some articles were actually clear about that. That Siri doesn't have the improvements yet, and that can is going to be kicked down the road a little further.
They don't have
So yeah,
improvements on iOS, do they?
No,
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I mean I did use Siri with the headset on because I was asking it, and I should stop saying as the Siri name, but um, I was asking it to find Spatial Gallery for me. I thought at least Siri will know where to find it,
No.
and they didn't. So actually, it one time it took me into the App Store within Vision Pro and took me right to that app that Eric and I talked about as being. It's got the same name, but it certainly isn't what we're looking for. So yeah, everybody did an article on this, and some like Apple Insider did a couple of articles on it. And the only thing, like one, and then 2 days later, another one. And basically, the only thing they changed was the top picture in the article in terms of view.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really the only real major news since we've entered the year, really, and since it's a year old now. Actually, honestly, a little lackluster for the first update since the device has been out for a year.
Yeah.
although
It
it does address my biggest complaint, which was how to deal with sharing the device with a guest user and having the guest user flounder around.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
huge. Oh, I actually wonder on that too, if you have to be within proximity of the device. I'm not home. My partner wants to use the Vision Pro.
Oh,
It'd
yeah,
be an
you're probably out of
interesting
luck,
thought.
but who knows?
Yeah, probably out of luck, but interesting thought.
I think, is it you have to be sharing the same Wi-Fi?
That's
Because that's how
also the
you,
thing I was thinking because like Mac Virtual Display, right, like isn't dependent on being on a Wi-Fi network. So I was also wondering that too, if they're ad hoc Wi-Fiing to the phone for the video feed, because if I'm out in public, I've had people
Mm,
want to try it, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? But like, I'm not going to have reliable Wi-Fi, so it
yeah.
would be then it could just literally directly to my phone. So I mean, I guess whenever I do get the beta, I'll just put my phone in cellular and see if it does it.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe you could
I,
have a second device like an iPad or something that's at home.
That too. Yeah.
as much as you say that it's been kind of lackluster. Yeah, it's been a slow week. This came out though, and there was a lot of press on it. Um, but at the same time, I think it's pretty cool that they're still investing in this device that every couple of months, some of the people who wrote all the articles on it say the thing is dead. So and of course, we were never going to get this.
Yeah.
Supposedly, according to the pundits, we would never see this. So,
Apparently,
um,
according to the engineers. Now, what I hope though, well, it being on here at all is great because the real Apple Intelligence feature that is going to be killer across all their devices is the app intents, and then developers
Mm,
being able to have that, so then it'll actually be able to act on your behalf. And I've been getting really comfortable lately with everyone wants to use the word agentic AI lately. I mean, not like it's a new word, but it's well.
yeah,
Anyway, I've been really getting into that on the coding side of things, and it just makes me more excited to see it like on the device side of things as well. And I mean, having it visually like go and click stuff for you in your apps, that's where the Apple Intelligence is going to be super killer. And so at least even if I don't care about any of these existing tools, these writing tools, Genmoji, whatever, Big Snore, whatever, all that means is that device is going to be capable for app intents, and that's the real
yeah.
like I'm hype for that.
you were talking about agentic AI, and as it turns out, I'm doing a presentation on it with another person
Hell yeah.
in my field. And I think it's, we've seen seeds of that prior, where there are some AI systems that you can establish subroutines, essentially running out and getting information and bringing it back. That's been around for a while. This seems like a little. Can you explain, just for folks who are not familiar with it, that might have, since you use that term, it what makes agentic AI different than an LLM or a chat GPT?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still all the same underlying technology, but the models are trained a little differently, such that they're how to put it, like I guess one way to describe it would be to say if you were to give somebody a problem or like a work task, right? And then or you're given one, and then you think, okay, I need to break this down into constituent parts and solve X and Y and Z, and then oh, I realize what I did part Z was wrong, so then I'll go back and fix that and correct it and then continue on. So it's called chain of thought, whole chain of thought reasoning as to like how to accomplish the problem, and then once it reasons about it, then acting on that too. So I've been doing a lot from the coding perspective lately. I've been using this development environment called Cursor. Super cool. I love it. I got my whole team with it. It's awesome. But like I can say literally like, hey, I want to do this thing in our on our application, and it's going to say, okay, I need to find out where it is in the code that this happens. So I'm going to search for this, and then I'm going to find this, make a change here, and then it lays out the plan, and then executes each step. And those steps, obviously could be other things like, I need to parse this Excel file and then gather the names of the people who like the color blue and then put them over here, and then I'm going to run a different analysis on those people. So it's the LLM making logical steps to solve the problem, and then of course executing on them. And of course, if you need to use like external tools, so the app intents, right? Like, okay, you need to go and click on this button in the DoorDash app that they've exposed to Siri to then go and click that and to do different operations.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the gist of it.
Mhm.
And then if you want to go and take it even further, it's going to get to the point where you have your AI talking to someone else's AI who's then talking to another person's AI. So, but that's getting down a rabbit hole. But that's the gist of it. At least that's my understanding of it. I'm sure some nerd would try to somehow tell me how I missed some very pedantic point and I'm wrong, but that's the gist. It's an agent.
Yeah.
He acts on your behalf.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And off show, take a couple of minutes. I'll explain the backward flips that I did all day using ChatGPT, but successfully. I was pretty amazed it came out. The presentation I'm going to be giving, we're going to be talking about prompt specialists or prompt engineers and how you can create a prompt engineer to create a prompt engineer for you. And so kind of taking people up a level from it just being a sophisticated search engine. And so with some proposal development I did today for some professional conferences that I'll be doing, we'll talk about it off camera. I was just able to really organize it through the process and come out with all the stuff that I needed to do it. So let's go back to Apple and Apple News. I think one of the things that we're all aware of that um, it's not just the phone, but we also announced a iPhone 16e last week that came in on Tuesday with sales going on Friday, and I think it's an interesting phone. For me, it will be my travel phone. The phone that I'll use when I'm traveling. I'll probably take it to Florida with me because I'm not going to be using it for anything big or I'm not going to be needing all the camera functions that I need in Florida for this conference. I just need a smaller phone that works within the Apple ecosystem. Any thoughts on, let's just say, the phone?
The modem is big.
The
That's
modem
the
is
first
No,
big?
sign. Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
the
actually
first
pretty
sign I've
small.
seen that well, it's a big deal in that it's the first sign I've seen that maybe we can get a Vision Pro that has cellular in it.
Yeah, they're working with that chip, that C1 chip, I guess it is, or C1 modem. And I kind of like that Apple's doing their own thing in terms of developing their own chip architecture or modem architecture. And yeah, I feel like a test pilot with that modem on the phone. But it'll be interesting to see how
Yeah.
well it works. And I'm really wondering, and Daniel, maybe you can tell me whether this is possible or not. There was some talk, I thought, at one point that like the MacBook Air was going to get a modem. I mean, a cellular capabilities. And would
Yeah, I
that,
mean,
yeah,
oh,
go
well, I
to
mean,
it?
I don't see why not. And I mean, to be fair, they could have been doing it for a long time,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair. Um, Now, will this perhaps encourage them to do so? Because I would certainly buy a cellular enabled Mac. Um, I don't know if I'd buy a cellular-enabled Vision Pro, but definitely a Mac for sure. I hope that's what it means because I would definitely purchase one. I don't see why. I really don't see why not. It just maybe they have some market data on it that it wouldn't sell very well. I could see that. Um, Perhaps if they could integrate it into something else, one of the like into the existing M chip somehow, then that would change that algebra. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really just a market decision if they want to do it or not. I don't think there's no technical barrier. There never was really. It's just do they want to do it and is it worthwhile?
Do they want to buy somebody else's modem?
Well, that too. I mean, and they had forever, and I'm sure part of the whole reason they even went on making this cellular one because I remember a lot in the past, like when some of the first 4G ones were coming out. Um, like if you bought a Verizon iPhone, it had an Intel
CD.
modem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you bought a different one, it had a Qualcomm modem, and just little things like that. I mean, if you're them, they don't like that kind of stuff. I wouldn't,
Hmm.
and I mean, if I was Apple too, I wouldn't like that having that kind of mix of suppliers and different use cases. It's like, no, I want this one unified thing. So then they made their own architect. They made their own processors, and now they're just wholly independent. Now they're their own cellular, so they're wholly independent. What
Yeah.
else?
I've been interested in the chip and what it means, and some of the stuff I've listened to said that the modems now through Qualcomm are costing about $7 a phone for Apple. And if you think, I mean, Apple's chips are going to cost them some to produce, but the licensing on it is $7 a phone when it's Qualcomm. Imagine how many phones are produced and how much money that will save Apple in the long run, as a possibility. The other argument is, well, Qualcomm, once the modem comes out, Qualcomm will dissect it and try to find issues with it that might be copyright or infringement, or not
Oh,
copyright
of
but
course.
patent infringement, and then tie this whole thing up in court, and then they'll settle and try to work out a new arrangement in terms of using Qualcomm. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And this is a small product where with a small footprint right now, so it'll be kind of fun to see how it rolls out. And I currently live in like a depression in this one area of our city, and so I don't get necessarily very good cell reception, anyways. So I might not be the best test for this in terms of quality with it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, $7 for them isn't very much, but at Apple's, and they can afford it. But even at Apple scale, they can also afford to make the chip.
Right.
And you know, when you brought up the money, there's probably more economic reasons for them to have done this too. Because let's ponder, where is that
Mhm.
being manufactured?
Yeah.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
So if they want to keep costs to a certain point, you got to start for making your own. No, that doesn't mean you're fabbing it domestically yet, but they are also starting to do a lot of that too. So
Very true.
As I'm looking at the time with the show, we only have a few articles to talk about outside of this scope. And this one just struck me because of the title. I didn't spend a lot of time with it, but I'll share that developers aren't sold on Apple Vision Pro as available apps decline. And we see this happen. These kinds of things come out every once in a while. Um, they talk about ported apps. and
Suggest.
basically they're quoting themselves from previous articles, which
Yeah.
Quote, Apple doesn't publish sales numbers, but estimates suggest fewer than 1 million devices have been sold. Yes, it was literally impossible to even make a million devices. Literally impossible.
yeah, this
But
come yeah, go
declining
ahead.
actually? Like, are people dropping support for their apps
Well, they're
that they
making
had
less
ported
apps, I think, is
or
the point.
yeah,
That that we haven't seen an increase in app development for the device. At least that's their
that's
claim.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Um,
But we're
again,
still
you
seeing new apps,
yeah,
Mhm.
right? It's not increasing exponentially, but then, the number of users hasn't been exponentially increasing either. So it's really get used to it, try something, figure out what works, what doesn't work. Yeah. It's still early adopters time, getting ready for when something comes out.
and it's a
You
jump
feel
for people who haven't ported their iPhone or iPad apps over to Vision Pro. We've kind of run as much of the gauntlet as we can with that at this point. I don't think people are sitting around after a year going, oh, maybe this is the time for us to finally port that over. I think those decisions were made, so looks like less people are porting over their iPad apps, and we're still seeing new apps that are developed just for the Vision Pro, and we'll talk about
Mhm.
two of them tonight, actually. Um, and so I don't know what to make of this. I'm wondering if some of this is let's wait and see. So there are more people waiting and seeing. Either people have made the decision to go into the product, or others are saying, well, let's see if they come out with a Vision Pro 2, or they come out with a Vision, or a set of glasses, because people are, that's all been in the press. So that probably doesn't make developers feel any more comfortable with leaping in when it's still a platform shifting underneath them.
yeah, and it just kind of feels like early iPhone days still. I
Mhm.
I have I have memories of high school me in the middle of class with my iPhone, and I'm just like scrolling the app store every day because there was like new stuff every day, and it's like, yep, I was just scrolling the app store on the
Yeah.
Vision Pro, and it's the same whatevers, and it's like, but
And then
now I mean,
you see a change in the homepage on Vision Pro on the App Store, and you get all excited because there's got to be some new stuff in there. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
A couple of comments. I have the chat room way over to my right on a screen that I don't spend enough time on. But Brian F brought up another reason I can think why Apple wants to make their own chip may come from having advancements at their own timetable. So they don't have to, and we've seen that with other portions. We've seen that with Intel. We've seen that with other parts of the phone and parts of products where Apple's like, nope, we're just going to do it ourselves. Because we can then release our products when we want to release them. We can gear up the way we want to gear up. We're not dependent on an outside supplier. And Agent Dax 5 said that's 100% part of the reason why Apple Silicon came to existence because of the Intel issue. So thanks, chat room, for that. Um, let's see, more stories. Let's go to this one. And I again don't know what to make of this. Well, I do kind of know what to make of this. Um, Apple promised or said that they're going to, people were like, ChatGPT, why are you getting into bed with ChatGPT? Well, Apple said, no, we're getting into bed with more people than ChatGPT. And in this case, an announcement that came out this week that Apple prepares to add Google Gemini to Apple Intelligence. What I find interesting about the article is that they talk about it in terms of they're going to run the same process with Google that they run with ChatGPT. That you kind of have to switch permissions on to do it. So it could be that you could switch on, 4 or 5 different external intelligent agents for you to work with your phone. But
Hmm.
the Apple Touch is that you request something from one of those entities, we'll send it out. It'll be anonymized. It will send it out. It'll come back to us, and then we'll send it to you as part of that process. So that's how they're running ChatGPT. And then they're also, looks like this article says that's the plan they have for Gemini with Google. Now all we need to do is get that with the Vision Pro. Um,
I think it's fair to say that it'll come to the Vision Pro too, since they had the ChatGPT integration there too,
yeah.
which I set up my account and I need to actually try it in the Vision Pro. Um, though I think there's a user experience potential nightmare. Like, what if I set up Gemini and ChatGPT? Could I, like, to your point, could it go to both? Could I do one request to one and then the follow up to another?
That's
Do it to both at
interesting.
the same time? Like, there gets an AI for normal people is already, I think, kind of odd, and this could be kind of complex. And so I don't know, we'll see. But that is what Apple is good at, is user experience. So they'll figure a way to maybe make it more approachable.
Yeah.
Will, and if you're running 2 or 3, will they get jealous of each other because you're giving one more attention than the other? And then
Hmm.
they'll kill you in your sleep.
Sorry,
Yeah, but you're missing
ChatGPT.
you're missing the
Gemini has a bigger
opportunity coming
context.
up though. Because I think that like in a couple of years, Apple will have um, their own server system for querying. Then I think they can add a component that says, like environmental cost. I want to ask this, but I want to ask this at the lowest environmental cost. And then it can say, well, okay, then we'll go to this system or that system, or I want to ask this question, but I want to optimize for this, and then it can decide which system it gets sent to.
Or
Well, if
potentially
you look at,
max privacy. I'd
yeah,
leave it to iCloud Private Relay, send it to one of my
Yep.
Macs when I'm not home and not using it. Why not?
Mm,
yeah, I think I think this
yep.
arrangement is Apple is now aware of all the questions that it can't answer. As you have millions of users sending in stuff to Apple, and then it gets sent out to ChatGPT, and it's basically training its servers. And then with Eric, and someday, we will be absorbing those types of questions and queries on Apple servers. And then, Eric's comment about the least footprint, you're looking for power efficient processors. And right now, Apple has developed those. And, you go from 5 to 3 nanometer, things like that, you're going to see more power
Yeah.
efficiency. But if you have a whole slew of servers that are running on those, doing your intelligence with it, then that's going to be the default most environmentally safe, or not safe, but less impact by going to that route. Another thing they say in here, which is interesting, is Apple will probably be looking at, there's been discussions that with other countries that have their own servers, and I'm trying to remember, like China,
Hmm.
they're going to be giving folks the offer to send it out to those services once they make arrangements with those services. So they're going to try and look at what's in the market and what people are using in the market for uh, uh, intelligence, and maybe make arrangements with those kinds of services in different countries where they sell the iPhone. So,
The other thing that's a neat possibility going forward is if all these queries and requests go to Apple and then go out, there's the potential for Apple to add an optional set of kind of preparatory queries to maybe remove some biases or remove some restrictions that would normally get returned by kind of wrapping the request and saying, well, make sure that the answer is like not is truthful, that you can't lie about it, that you can't, whatever it is that you can add to the front of it. So then when you get it's sent to a system that's trying not to talk about particular political events or is trying to reduce kind of, there's potentially some of that can get stripped out. And then the users don't need to know how to do that. It could be a checkbox on the queries, or it could be a Siri option on the queries.
And I just thought maybe Apple will have to make contracts with, what is it, Elon Musk's, what is it, Grok or Gok or
Grok?
Glock?
Yeah. Glock. It is a weapon of mass propaganda. Hey.
Brian F mentions in the chat room, I like the options for Intelligent Assistant. Is anyone surprised that Google is okay with having anonymous aspects to it? I don't know. Google's getting the data. They're getting the data of what are questions that people want answers to. They're just not getting who that person is that wants to. So there's got to be some arrangement, but and they must be getting something out of the fact that these anonymous requests are coming to them, void of IP and identifying information. It still has to be a penny for Google, whether Apple's paying to license that or Google just is fine with getting what they're getting.
Well, it probably helps them in the EU.
That's actually some Apple news we should talk about sometime. Their privacy stuff that they did in the EU. That was interesting. Crap, I forgot my point. I was going to mention about the
Sorry.
privacy. No, I forgot.
Oh, we can switch gears and talk about what's on your mind. I think it was a ballsy move. I love it.
That's an interesting one, but
yeah, where essentially Apple said to the UK, well, we're not going to give you a back door, so we're just going to leave all the phones open for you to have access to.
Yeah.
Right
no back door. We're just gonna kick it wide open and let your constituents come complain at you that this was your doing.
No pants in the UK. Good luck.
Yeah, all we need is some little nasty photos from a nasty party that one of the officials went to, leaked, and there goes the request for the back door.
Oh well.
So I haven't done this yet. Have you done this? Have you? Okay.
I enjoyed it. This is the one where I went outside and sat in a chair outside in the cold, and I was shivering by the time I hit the 15-minute mark. Really, really cold, but it felt real.
Okay. So let's, for folks who are listening to this and not watching, Apple Vision Pro Immersive Video Arctic Surfing is available now. And I'm going to be wearing my headset probably more than I usually do the next couple of days. And this will be one thing I'll have to have to do. I did get a text message when you sent me this, and it was like, yeah, I'm decided to sit outside and watch it. And I thought, are you nuts?
He's having the real immersive experience.
Yeah. You're also having
was cool.
I thought it was a nice video, though. I felt like I was on a little, like a little tour up
Mhm.
there.
Are these going to get seasonal? Because we just had ice diving, and
Mm.
now we've got this. Are we? And who says this is seasonal? Because the southern hemisphere is having a totally different experience than we are right now in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, that's a new immersive video that was released as part of the second episode of the Boundless series. Hot air balloons. Yeah, I remember that. And a deep water solo is arriving next Friday.
Yeah,
What
that should
is
be fun.
deep? What is deep
That
water?
that's free climbing, I think.
Deep water solo?
Well, you're free climbing up a cliff over the ocean, maybe. I saw some guy hanging with two arms on the side of a cliff without a rope. So
Oh, probably climbing up and then just jumping off the cliff
Jumping it
into the
off.
water. Hell yeah. They really like water, these last couple ones.
Yeah.
well, the
And
water's
then
not frozen, so
yeah. And then one bit of news. MLS soccer season pass has started. MLS soccer, I guess, is redundant. But MLS season pass just started again. Any of you guys soccer fans?
No. I
I
wish I was
forgot
a
to
sports
cancel
fan
my
because you guys.
subscription.
You did?
So I got a whole nother season
Well,
I
accidentally.
good.
Oh well.
You can review it on the Vision Pro for us.
I canceled it, and then this came out, and then I saw something that said you can order it for the next couple of days, like $20 cheaper. So I don't know what does it cost. See if $99 for the full season, or at a discounted $79 price for Apple TV Plus
Yeah.
subscribers. And so I was like, $80. I promised myself I'd watch soccer last year. I didn't. What the hell? And I pushed the button. So I'm kind of hoping that we'll see more integration with maybe some spatial photography, something else besides the nosebleed seats at a soccer match. Um, I want to see a little bit more cameras in more places. And we've seen some of that with, if you remember, some of the the season ender ML spatial video that was done. They've got cameras on top of nets and throughout the park. So there's some possibilities. I would just like to see it, particularly since Apple is kind of their outlet. They need to
Yep.
step it up a little bit.
I want to see the ball in the goal, or rather, the camera in the goal, and the ball hit it, and then you're watching it, and it feels like you get hit in the face with the ball.
See, that's
Yeah,
not enough. I want to see the camera in the ball. I want to be right there, and I'll have a wastebasket right next to me, so
Yeah, really.
with the tumbling when I get sick. But yeah,
okay.
there are
So
possibilities.
I'm seeing some things that were thrown into the show notes. Brian's talking about not big into MLS, but I'm glad that Friday Night Baseball is back soonish. Yeah, I'm an MLB subscriber, and
Do you
the
have a team
Cubbies are
you like?
Cubbies. The Cubbies are like
Ah,
5-0, I think, in preseason. It's like amazing to
okay.
watch these young guys play. Um, Nothing wrong with the old guys, but it's been fun watching
Hmm.
preseason or spring training preseason. It's not football. Um, so yeah, I again would like to see more developed with that since Apple's partially tied into it. They should have just bought the whole damn
Hmm.
network. Um, but Brian's talking about being glad Friday night baseball is back. Yeah. And Steve Sims, who's in the chat room, also agrees. So yeah, lots of good, interesting things. I hope continues to advance with sports. So so somebody put this in as app. So I don't know who it was, but I will go to it.
Have you played
And
with it yet?
I haven't even, I just saw it the minute
Oh.
I paged down these show notes.
So
Tell me
do you
about it.
remember the app that shows you airports?
Yeah.
You know, and you can kind of rotate it around and you can see planes coming in and taking off. This is kind of like that. You can tip it up so it's flat and you're looking straight on, or you
Yeah.
can lay it sideways so you're kind of looking at a bit of an angle. And there you can there's two layers, the upper air layer in upper clouds and then a lower one, and you can hide the upper layer to only show near the ground or show both.
And
I
So
didn't
so
prices?
so
have a day. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
so
Daniel.
so it's a weather app with
Yes.
it looks like it makes me think of like a video game like playing the Sim City or something, and you're seeing the weather rolling in. Can you like walk
You,
around too? Like there's a
yeah.
map on
Well, you
your
can.
table. Oh,
you
that's
you can
cool.
rotate it. You can't change the weather. You can put it
Oh,
above you and below you. If you bring it up so that it's kind of right at eye level, you can sort of see all of the layers, the ground and everything else. So I was hoping that I would get some precipitation that I could watch and see what that looked like, but I just had clouds.
So
Um,
do they just sit there? I mean, can you time lapse it?
yeah. Do they move with like the
I,
radar imaging? I bet they
I
do.
maybe I
I need to
didn't
try it.
get a chance long enough, but it was entertaining enough, and evidently somewhere along the line I had downloaded it before. I just hadn't seen it again. So I mean, and that I guess that's one thing. Yeah, we might not be seeing an exponential increase in apps, but there are a lot of apps getting updated.
Yeah. And this is a Apple Vision Pro only app.
Mhm.
So if you want to sit in your living room and watch the clouds slowly move across a map, this is the app for
Yeah,
you.
and use the other app to have a nearby airport, and then you can have weather, you can have airport, and you can watch them both.
When I'm up in North when I'm up in North Carolina and we're doing driving around the mountains, I'm always like keeping an eye on the weather. And I kind of want to go look at the weather up there with this just to see like all the elevation differences and like relative to where the clouds are and all that, because like we're trying to plan out
Hmm.
our drive, because we don't want to
Yeah.
get rained out and then they'll slide and fall off the mountain. That definitely hasn't happened to a friend of mine before. But um it would just be cool to look
Hmm.
at too, because I mean it's not going to be very cool to look at for me in Florida. It's like, oh cool, it's flat. But someplace with more elevation actually would be kind of fun, like to see how the clouds then change. Is it like, how it's not perhaps just like plowing through the mountain, and how the mountain's influencing it and seeing it in this dimension? That's cool.
And the price is right for exactly what it does. Sitting in your living room watching clouds.
Yeah.
It's free. Um, then somebody wrote in a bunch of stuff about the Colossal Cave bundle.
Yeah. So the Colossal Cave, that's that app that I've been beta testing for forever.
Uh,
It just came out of beta, but it hasn't been released yet. The conclusion that they seem to have come to is that the the VR mode makes you sick, and they can't quite fix it. They've gotten close, but it's not quite there. And then what they really wanted is kind of the VR mode, but not immersed, so that you can see everything around it. They really wanted a window that was VR, and you can't do that. So what they did is they're doing two versions of the app, one that's immersive VR, one that's window. And the controls are slightly different between the two. And what they suggest is you pay for the bundle. So individually, it's $20. It's $25 for the bundle, and the bundle gives you the windowed version and the full immersive version, and then you can play whichever one doesn't make you sick.
So this is not a real cave. This is an
Well, it's
animation.
based on a cave, and if you look, but yes, this is
I mean, I
this is based
found
off of an old game, so it's
yeah,
available. Similar games are available on a bunch of different platforms, going all the way back to text-based systems on some mainframes.
yeah.
But this is
I
kind of a rethinking of the whole thing.
yeah, I just typed in Colossal Cave and came to this page that was colossalcave3d.com, and it looks like it has Steam, PlayStation, and Apple as part of a gaming system. And I was wondering if that was
Hmm.
what they were trying to do with the headset.
It could be.
Yeah.
Cygnus Entertainment is the company.
Well, Colossal Cave is a reimagining of the original text-based adventure game first introduced in 1975 by Will Crowther and Dan Woods. Let's see if I can get to who's producing this. I have to really page down because it's a Colossal Cave.
Yeah. There's a
Copyright
lot of
Cygnus
background.
Entertainment. It's Cygnus Entertainment. So,
but as far as I know, the game that they just finished off the beta on hasn't yet been released. However, when
yeah,
it is released, get the bundle, not the individual.
okay.
So I'm hoping soon, maybe next month.
All right, a couple of other apps that I'll share with you, and I'm pulling them up for folks to look at. This one is kind of fun. I thought I got it, and I thought, is this something that I'm going to find useful at all? But it was $2, and it was Apple Vision Pro only, and so I started playing with it a little bit today. It gives you local maps or tiny maps, basically, that you can put up as a variety of windows. And I put up and just looked in my locale, and it gives you these options, and you might be able to see it in this center image, where it's like food, um, grocery stores. So it's almost like a Yelp, in the sense that you can uh, look for maps that for particular things that you're looking for in the area. Um, but yeah, I played with it, and then you can create these as windows, as widgets in the sense, and have them up and have them out while you're messing with it and working on other stuff. $2, can't beat it. Bite-sized maps anywhere in your space. Discover look around scenes on an infinite canvas. Search and view location information. And yeah, pretty cool. The other one I'll share with you and is called Glance Bar. And once I got it set up, and it wasn't a lot to set it up, it was giving a series of permissions. And you can put the bar, it's your day at a glance. You can choose vertical or horizontal to work with. And it will give you your upcoming events. It'll give you reminders. You can put weather at the top. And it allows you to have all of that stuff off and aside, floating with Vision Pro. It's kind of designed nicely. There's not a there's some see-through in it. I don't know what you call it, lack of opacity with it. And again, pretty good. Price is free. Oh no. Oh, Glance Bar Unlocked is $5. and that gives you some more functions with it. In terms of in-app purchases, that's one of the things. So
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a shot. I've been looking for a similar one to switch it up, because I tried out a few early on, and you know, they were the early apps. Take that statement as how you want to take it. Um, um, so I've been using it a lot, the Vision Pro a lot more lately. I mean, I'm pretty sure I only took it off to sleep the last couple days. um, and so I've been thinking of an app like this recently again. And I always set these up with a shortcut. So
yeah,
on boot, it'll come up because you
Oh,
can't
just start
really
up.
have any other. Yeah, right. Because I kind of want something like the Mac status bar, right? And I
yeah,
have like a million things on mine too that like have a million different things, and that's kind of what I'm searching for here. And then this is a lot more what I want. There were some that are like thinner, like the status bar, but I'm liking this one since you know we have more space to play
yeah.
with.
I
Yeah.
goofed up and instead of saying accept, I said no on one of the functions, and then had to go into systems and the app function to turn it back on as so it would work with this. And I think there is a setup where you can open this on boot. So you might be in luck there, Daniel, with
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, if not, I can always do it with a shortcut
Yeah,
automation.
yeah,
See, I like the idea of having a subset of apps, like a little mini app launcher,
Hmm.
yeah.
because now I've downloaded and tried so many different apps. I've got pages and pages, but there's really like 6 that I'm interested in, and none of them are on the same page, and I don't want to take the time to rearrange. So this could be good. I'll give it a try.
That's what they need to put in the iPhone, a Vision Pro app, rearranging the apps. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like if I don't know if you guys use CarPlay as well. Like you can rearrange
yeah.
the apps on the
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
for CarPlay. Imagine doing it on the car. Like now, I need that in the Vision Pro or on the
You
iPhone.
can do that on the phone?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I guess I never even thought to look for that.
yeah. I'll go in there and change it. You can rearrange them. It's so much easier.
Huh.
I'll have to see if I
One
can do
moment.
that with my arrangement with it. With I have CarPlay, by dongle, I guess is the way to say it, Bluetoothed in, and so I'll have to see if I can do that. But I only use one or two things on CarPlay, so it's always in the same position that I use
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mostly end up just hiding stuff, so I only have like
Yeah,
the one screen.
yeah.
Ah,
Well, I think that's a wrap for the show. Thanks to the folks in the chat room, Steve and Brian and Agent Dax, for tuning in and watching the show and listening to it. Thanks for your contributions to it. And for those that are listening to the show or watching this later on, thank you for tuning in to Vision Profiles. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Everything cool with you guys? Anything else? Ready to call it a day?
Yes.
yes.
All right. Well, I'll be cutting this show and watching something on one of these screens. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profile podcast at the website thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.